Genuine acoustic folk with Feeding Leroy. Public art in progress with Ann Klefstad.
It's risky and it's a lot of work, and it's definitely worth doing.
Poetry is a good way to make a bridge for different cultures and different types of people that wouldn't normally meet together.
The power of poetry with Rocky makes room for them. These artists and more coming up on your playlist.
Funding for the playlist is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
They play an acoustic style of alt country with heart and folk. Please welcome Feeding Leroy to the playlist.
Thank you, guys. Another night on the mountain, just another day on the road, and I'm searching through the flowers on a lawless path to my home, with the banjos flickering the lonely wind. When will I ever get to see you again? You got a smiling face and it warms my heart, and it's hard to feel so far apart. Well, the plane safely flies across that frozen prairie with the full moon in my eyes, as I blindly walk alone, with the banjos flickering the lonely wind. When will I ever get to see you again? You got a smiling face and it warms my heart, and it's hard to feel so far apart. It's hard to feel so far apart. Well, thank you, guys.
I guess I'm calling it, Estuary Plaza, something like that. Shimmy, shim, shim. It's about the wild ecosystem that really defines Duluth. It's risky and it's a lot of work and it's all that, but it's definitely worth doing. My name's Ann Klefstad, and I'm an artist in Duluth. And what I do is sculpture with some painting on the side. Foxes are very much, they're of the swamp. They love to eat duck eggs and ducklings and all that good stuff. But they're also of the city. And so they're kind of the intermediary animal. So that's what he's there for. He's kind of there to be the friendly intermediary between the people and the swamp. When you do bronze, it's many steps process. You feel like you do sculpture for about 5 minutes and then you spend a year doing the rest of it. So what I'm doing here, just the first step, and then when I'm happy with him, I will cover him with a coat of mold rubber, and then I will wrap that mold rubber in plaster. That's called the mother mold. And you assemble them and tie them up together, and then you pour the wax in there. I do like having several processes going at once, because then you can do stuff while you're waiting. And because the feet are the exit points of the mold, they get the most kind of crazy clotted up with overrun and stuff like that. So it always takes me a long time to do their pedicures. And we're getting down to ground zero. Okay. You bring the wax to the foundry and they pour the bronze. They wanted something pretty, but they also wanted something specifically that would be calming. People who need help come here because this is the county building for that, and that's a stressful environment. It's a little bit of a wild zone, and you know, it's just for me kind of that benediction of wild kindness in a place that can be harsh. I do like knowing that things that I make serve people and really are reliable containers of meaning. You know, I mean, that people do find meaning in them, and that's huge for me.
Rocky makes room for them as a Duluth poet with an original voice and a lot to say. Welcome to the playlist.
Thanks.
Okay, you told me earlier that you learned to write poetry and started writing poetry because you were doing homework for somebody else?
It was in middle school, and a group of students had an assignment to do poetry and they didn't do it, and I volunteered to do it, and just started writing silly stuff, and everybody liked it, and I started liking it more, and I think that's one of the memories I can remember of where I really started to write. So I'm not sure how old you are when you're in 9th grade, but.
And now when you're writing poetry, are you thinking about who might read it, or are you writing it for yourself?
Both, but more for the community for sure. I would like to think that it opens eyes, it breaks walls down. I think poetry is a good way to make a bridge for different cultures and different types of people that wouldn't normally meet together, or poetry event or something, a reading would draw different types of people in, and so then they're forced to be together and maybe talk about issues, or I think that's kind of like what I write, so people can see different points of view, I think, also. Lost and found. I was once lost in cars, stars, bottles of wine, and tattooed arms, and salty lemons chasing shots. I wasn't me. I'd yawn but couldn't sleep. They said I was lost. I would look for myself in clouds when the sky was red. I was lost. Twisted tight in zigzag papers and fright. In the dark, I heard only my cries and followed the lightning. I found myself lost in faraway lands, dancing free under cottonwood trees, like a whirlwind spinning. My spirit found its way back to the center of my life.
You take on some challenging issues, you know, alcoholism, drug abuse, disenfranchisement, all of those things.
Yes, it's definitely issue in all community, no matter you know what, if it's Native community or non-Native community. I think it's to make light of things. You know, use humor, and it is like another way of dealing with the struggles that we may have. So there's a lot of there's a balance of reading stuff that maybe someone may take as a negative connotation, but really it's more of like, hey, this is a real thing, and maybe we should hear it, or maybe some of us don't see it or refuse to see it.
How is your poetry received in your community?
I've got a lot of good feedback on it, and a lot of good encouragement to keep writing, and it's also opened a lot of other opportunities to share poetry in the community. So I think people understand it, or maybe it's different than other poets in Duluth, I think, for sure.
You also play with just the way those words look on a page, and poets do that. There's a lot of Z's sometimes that show up in next to the S's. Tell me how that came to be.
It was my own little selfish way of owning something, maybe saying, hey, that's mine. Or when people read it, they'll, hey, that's probably Rocky's because all these Z's and all these words that are put together. And that's just another way of showing, of expressing also, like, if you read it, then you have to take the time to read it and to decipher more of it and look more into it. And I think it's just a way of grabbing your attention more, and something I just did and I just liked and just kept doing.
Future projects for Rocky. Will there be a published something that people could go to or buy?
Yeah, I'm still working on a book. I did write a chapbook, which is right here, and I have hundreds of poems that I could be published, and so it's figuring out what's right or how I'm gonna put that together, but I think that's gonna be coming out soon.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. Good luck. I'll be watching for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Moonless night causes me to fight. I let the punches fly, and I head on down to the Fly Me to the Moon saloon. Drinks are cheap, I let the whiskey pour. I'll have them more. The whiskey makes me sore, so I head for the door. I go looking for the moon. Maybe there I'll find you. Stars are bright but lonely tonight. What can I do when I'm left howling at you?
Thank you very much.
Sonia Bjordal, welcome to the playlist,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for bringing the band.
Thank you for having us. This was great. It's a treat.
So introduce the band and tell me how you came to be Feeding Leroy.
Sure. Myself, Lee Martin was playing the guitar, and Adam Stopey on the bass. And Adam and Lee have been playing together in bars for years. And a member was not here, Lee's brother Luke. He's been playing harmonica with us, and really nice filling out that fourth spot and that fourth harmony. But he's a golf pro, and he's in Utah for the summer, so he's missed right now. But we've all played together for years, and we've called ourselves different things, and we've had other people sit in. But this foursome has been just really gelled well in the last few years, and we came with a name that we like, that sticks, and it works.
They tell me naming a band is one of the hardest decisions you have to make. So where did
Believe
Feeding,
me, we know.
where did Feeding Leroy come from?
Well, one day I think Lee came up with it. He said, "What about Feeding Leroy?" And I said, "That sounds really good. Leroy is our 70-pound pit bull, and we adore him. And you know, someone's got to feed him, and it ain't cheap." So,
Okay, is that why you're traveling all the time? You do a lot of traveling and picking up music and picking up opportunities to interact with people.
well, it's fun to get out of maybe playing the same gigs over and over and kind of getting maybe stale somewhere, I think. We love playing in Duluth, but it's fun then to take it out to a different audience where people have never heard our stuff. So we can play stuff that we've been playing for years, and it's new to some people. And I think also traveling, we've met a lot of other really great musicians that have become good friends and influence us with their style and their musical influences.
Lay your burdens down, weep no more. I have gone to a better shore. Devil comes knocking at my door. Tell him I've gone to a better shore. The river is wide,
River is wide.
my heart's so cold. When I lost my love in the river of gold, the devil comes knocking at my door. Tell him I've gone to a better shore. Well, my mother's son, he was lost at sea. Now her burdens all walk with me. All that I pray, oh my sweet Lord, is meet him on now, meet him on that better shore. Play it now, country. The river is wide, my heart's so cold. When I lost my love in the river of gold, devil comes knocking at my door. Tell him I've gone to a better shore. Devil
Are you the writer, or how does
We-
the music develop?
Yeah, we both are. Most recently with this newer EP, a lot of songs of Lee's that he's maybe recorded in the past but never kind of packaged it, and gotten it out to people in a way that's accessible. So we both do write a lot, and we try to, I think that's been the biggest piece of this band feeding Leroy has been a little bit of my stuff, a little bit of his stuff, and we can both sing each other's songs and flop and sing together. But yeah, a lot of these new stuff it's Lee's.
You have an EP that's already out.
Yep.
What's next? What's coming up?
Well, we would like to maybe add more to that and come up with more of a full-length album. And, we made these homemade copies, and we just wanted to get stuff out as fast as we could. We had Rich Mattson up in Sparta mix and master and record us, and he was kind enough to give us a mastered copy that we could just kind of take as we wanted. And we just did a lot of passing around. But we'd like to get it professionally packaged and all that. And
Judging by the response that you got tonight from the audience, I think they're waiting for that. We'd like to buy
Okay.
that.
all right, give the people what they want, right?
Hold them to it. Last question, on your website it talks about playing big gigs. You have a big gig coming up with Charlie Parr.
Yeah.
Small gigs, weddings, funerals.
Yeah.
What do you like best?
I like early in the day. I think we're suited well in the early portion of the day. I don't know I can't tell you what I like best yet, because we haven't really done a lot of big gigs. I'm already nervous to play down at the Varsity Theater, but I know it's something not to, it's an opportunity not to miss. I like the intimate kind of the brewery happy hour. People are eating, having fun. It's lively. It's early enough where people can be engaged, and we can just kind of add to that atmosphere. It's really fun. We've done well there.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck to you,
Hey,
too.
appreciate it.
Nice job.
Thanks.
I headed for the west and I left in the pouring rain. I made it to the mountains to find out that everything is the same. It ain't the same. And the Tennessee devil came along to melt my heart. If I wasn't so damn busy, I'd be looking for a place to start. A place to start. So if you're driving for a while and you're pulling just a bit to the right, and you're dreading all the miles that you had to make it through in the night, find your friend downtown, she'll be around. Take a heavy load, let the whistle blow with the Tennessee devil tonight. Set out on a journey's either acting out of love or fear. Babe, I need to see you feel whispering in my ear. In my ear. So if you're driving for a while and you're pulling just a bit to the right, and you're dreading all the miles that you had to make it through in the night, find your friend downtown, she'll be around. Take a heavy load, let the whistle blow with the Tennessee Devil tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for coming and hanging out for this in-studio performance.